Hi, this is Anna Imagination with the Healing Garden, and welcome to Shifting Perspectives. If you are, well, this isn't Shifting Perspectives, this is Philosophical Coffee. If you are new to my channel, I am a philosopher, psychologist, sociologist of 30 years, and this is the space where every morning I dedicate about 90 minutes to all things healing. It's a daily walkthrough from gratitude journaling to information about healing and logical health, story health, and your defined self. So one of the things I hear a lot is that there is no cure. The other thing I hear a lot is healing is a lifelong process. No, it's not. But there is maintenance that comes with it after. The way I explain the maintenance is equivalent to you have your car and you have a car accident. The car accident is you having it in the shop for 6 weeks to repair it. But the maintenance is the oil change, the tire rotation, and the alignment. So, and then there's people who think they never have to do any car maintenance. We know exactly the consequences if you don't change your oil, rotate your tires, align your axle. Like, we know this. Mental health is exactly the same way, in the sense it precisely, there's calibration. You need to calibrate your mental health. You need to calibrate your car. And actually, this is a really good example because it is the calibration that's the problem. We have this mimic mirror repetition response inside of us. And what happens is that mimic mirror repetition response causes us to pick up habits, to pick up behavior, to reflect people. So if you're around a bunch of people who aren't like you or who don't align to your truth, you're going to end up picking up mimic mirror repetition response from a bunch of people who aren't you. That's going to put a bunch of stuff in your head that isn't you, and it's actually going to cause misalignment. And just like a car without proper alignment, it's going to do this when it's on the road. It's going to drift off the road. So you need to keep aligning it. Well, if you have a circle, a community that doesn't mimic mirror response put their own stuff into you, but mimic mirror response puts their stuff into you, which is your stuff, so that you're aligned properly with the right people, then what will end up happening is, instead of them actually contaminating your perspective, instead of them pulling you off course, what will happen is they will emphasize, they will nurture and nourish your true self. So you'll have somebody where the more you're around them, the more you'll feel like yourself, the more you'll be you. It's extraordinary. This is one of the like of all the things with my you and I, this is the thing at the top, is when I'm around him, he brings out all of the happy, weird parts of me that I love. And likewise, mine nourishes him. So it's very much that mimic mirror repetition response. And when I'm in my true state alone, it's no different than I'm with him, because we're aligned. If you have somebody who's not in alignment, you're not going to get that. So maintenance on your mental health looks like alone time, because it's basically filtering out all of the additional perspective that isn't yours. No 2 people are identical. So you are, even if you have an ideal you of I, you're still going to be picking up stuff that is not you. In addition to that, you're going to basically, you blend so well with another person in some cases that you lose who you are. You cannot be around people for a prolonged period of time without losing yourself. This is like basic Psych 101, which is why you need alone time. You also need to basically manage your comfort zone. It's your comfort to adventure lifestyle. And what is supposed to happen is you're supposed to go in and have an adventure, have fun, enjoy life, and then return to your comfort zone or your home base and recuperate, cleanse yourself, get back to who you are, and then go back and adventure. And the purpose of our emotions is to balance all of that out so that we pick up on the emotional cues of basically it's our emotions are a barometer. Really, like of all the things I've said about emotions, this comes right down to it. Emotions are a barometer that tell you how far off the external weather is from point zero. So if your emotions are all over the place, it's a clue that you need to stop adventuring and get yourself back to the comfort zone. Now, in one particular case I'm working with right now, they are going through a grieving period. So they're using adventure to avoid, and as a result, they're not grieving. They're trying to suppress and they are running away from the grief. As a result, they're not processing it. And what suppressing your emotions is equivalent to ignoring all the check engine lights in a car. It's exactly like that. You're getting all of these alerts from the car saying, hey, your engine's falling apart, your oil is off, nothing is working right. And you're ignoring all of the lights and you're just driving it anyway without any maintenance. That is exactly what suppressing your emotions is like. And then they rise up, they get to a point where, and people who say they don't do emotions are people who are so incompetent, unskilled, and unaware of how to handle and manage emotions. They're just ignorant. They're just absolutely uneducated in this. And it's basically, it screams first perspective. It's just a complete inability to manage emotions properly. To manage emotions, you need a tri-balance of logic and imagination. You're supposed to have logic, imagination, and emotions, all three together in this gorgeous cocktail of balance. But our culture, our traditions, and our families do not allow for that in most cases. But when you have this beautiful concoction of logic, emotions, imagination, it oh my God, it runs so smoothly. So the maintenance you can expect for the rest of your life is, and I go on a 2-week cycle. I follow the moon cycle on, like, right now, tonight, last night, it was a full moon. Let me just check the calendar. Yeah, it's a full moon. So right now is a time for being alone and alignment. This is a time of isolation and alignment. So for me, I set aside the full moon for just making sure that I get back to ground zero and I remind myself who I am, and I completely isolate. So full moon for me is isolation. And then the new moon is when I make plans for the future, I manifest, and I use that energy to supercharge what's coming up. And my turnaround for this cycle is usually anywhere from 2 hours to the full 2 weeks. It's extraordinary. So being mindful, and I love to use the moon calendar because it's something it's just a constant reminder of, oh yeah, this is where it is. This is where you need to be. So I keep it on that cycle. It keeps me on track. It keeps it in my books. So when I see it, I just know, oh, okay, it's time to isolate. It's time to spend some time alone and reflect. I use meditation a lot for this. Now, for me, if I don't meditate, yeah, I noticed that, and that's the other thing. Even I was this way like 3 days ago. I noticed that I had something. I was cycling. Right. Cycling is the term I use for when you're doing the same repetitive behavior, usually with tech over and over again, like you're looking for something, but you can't find it. When you catch yourself cycling, that is the first clue that you need to stop and meditate. That's go inward. So there's like a lot of things we're doing on a regular basis that actually shows us that we're cycling, that tells us, oh, you need to go inward now. And if you're not going inward, the consequence is going to be you're going to have an emotional upset within 24 hours, almost every single time. So after you heal, after you complete your healing journey, where you end up is basically this place of maintenance where you have to keep recalibrating. It's like you have to keep tuning your piano. And that is really, that's it. And a lot of people think, oh, I'm better now. I don't have to tune my piano anymore. Or I'm better now. I don't have to ever change the oil in my car again. No, it doesn't work like that. And that's not healing. That's maintenance. So really, healing is such an abused word. And I'm going to say it over and over again. Healing is you have your body, you get a cut on your thumb, and you have a Band-Aid on your thumb, and you are waiting for the cut to heal. The overall body does not change. Your thumb just has a boo-boo. That's healing. For most of us, you're going through a full skeletal re-break transformation and a gender operation. Really, I would not call anything of what the majority of us have to do healing. Healing is like you have a Band-Aid on your boo-boo. No, this is fucking big. This is transformative. This is an absolute, I call it a rescue mission. And that's what you're doing. It's a rescue mission. That's the very first line for the people who sign up for my Triadic Healing. The very first thing I tell them is, we're getting rid of the word healing. I'm telling you right now, this is not healing. This is a rescue mission. We are going into your subconscious mind. We are fighting back the forces that be. We are subduing and submitting the enemy who's inside our own head. We are ending the discord. We are creating a union, and we are going deep into the bowels of your mind for a rescue mission of the identity. That's what this is. You don't even know who you are. Fuck healing. Most people don't even know who they are. Healing is for people who know who they are Zen, and they have a cut on their. Healing is your cat just died and you just need to cope with the grief. That's healing. But it's not going to transform you. It's not going to change you. You are you. In most cases, people don't even know who they are. So it's a rescue mission of go inside the mind, rip open who you are, restore who you are, get your defenses back up, and put the city back together again. It is intensive. That is it. It is ICU. It's not healing. It's intensive care. There. This is intensive care. I love that. I'm going to use that. Triadic healing is intensive care because it's not healing. Healing is like, really? No, this is fucking serious shit. It's awesome. I love it to pieces. So I was laying in bed this morning and I was falling asleep with the same idea in my mind, and it was really bugging me. I was thinking a lot about when you get into the seventh perspective and higher, you enter into the world of metaphysics. Metaphysics is when you basically, it's all the stuff we think about when we think about aliens and how big the universe is and how small and insignificant we are. We call this existentialism in philosophy. And really, let's talk about existentialism, because that's really what this is. I mean, I've never actually looked up the word existential. This is going to be hilarious. Existentialism was my favorite topic in philosophy. Philosophy. Concerned with existence, especially human existence as viewed in the theories of existentialism. Existential. Existence. Oh, existence. Existential. Oh, I see that. A form of philosophical inquiry that explores the issues of human existence. Yeah. Like, it's in the word philosophy. And I'm going, well, that's psychology. Yeah. That's a really good point, because existential asks the question, this is where I got the philosopher's compass from. Who are we? Where are we going? Why are we here? And where did we come from? That's existential. This is you got a lot of people who are having existential crises because they don't know who they are. They don't know where they're going. And that affects your psychology, your behavior very much. It's like the core of it, it was so funny. I was talking to my psychology friend, and she was like, okay, so I started studying philosophy. And I went, yes. And she went, I understand why you're like, oh, you really need to study this if you're going to study psychology. Thank you. Yes. And she's like, and I said to her, and I say this to everyone, to study psychology without philosophy is like studying astrophysics without math. And she says to this, that makes sense now. She's like, absolutely. And I'm like, what are you doing? Not her, you, but psychologists. Like, what are you doing? And it's I understand it now. My contempt towards psychology has really calmed down since I understand, oh, they lack imagination. All right, that makes sense. Okay. I get very angry when I don't understand something. I get really angry when I don't understand something. Vehemently. So I am vehement when I don't understand something. And I know why. It's to not understand something for me is part of my obsession. It's like I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. It's the logic. I have to have the logic. So existential, and that's what a lot of us are experiencing is an existential crisis. Really, that's the name of your problem. It's you're having an existential crisis. And an existential crisis is not understanding who you are, where you are, what you're going, what your purpose is. It's complete loss of any kind of understanding in life. And so many people, the thing is, your existentialism is your coordinates. Once you have it figured out, that's your coordinates. You now know where you are in the grand scheme of things. That's existential. So it's really interesting to see how it all plays out. I had something shift in me yesterday. It was an emotion. It was like something in my arrogance clicked and it started to die down. And I went, oh, thank God. I was sick of my arrogance. I'm like, okay, I used it to get over humility and it worked, but I didn't know how to turn down arrogance at all until like I'm going, okay, the opposite of arrogance is humility, but humility is degrading. And I'm going, and that's a really good word, degradation. There's a lot in our culture that is very much degradation based. And I love the emotion arrogance. I absolutely love the emotion arrogance, but it's fantastic for curing degradation, which it did. Like, all right, I wanted to get rid of my degradation. So I cured my degradation. I jumped over to the growth, but I wanted to turn down the dial, but I didn't want to use degradation to do it. So I felt it snap yesterday where something in it finally like released. It was a different emotion though. It was a different kind. I got to analyze this because I had a fantastic day yesterday. I had a fucking fantastic day. I felt happy and free. I understood my gifting trauma. That was a big fucking deal for me. I received intimacy. Like I was able to remove the block so there's no more trauma associated with intimacy or human connection. And I realized my beautiful Irish little self there's a lot of us who identify with countries that we have no connection to. And there's this belief that if you're not born to this country, you should not relate to it. And that's just one more little box that everyone puts us into. I remember this one episode of MASH I was watching. It was one of two episodes where it was a if you give a mouse a cookie episode. I actually hated these episodes. It was, I want X. Well, I'm not getting this for you unless you do this. So then Hawkeye went and he would do X for X, X for Y, and then he would do Y for Z, and then he would do Z for B, and then he would do B for A. And at the end of it, when it was all set up, and I remember this one particular one, it was give Frank a birthday party. And everyone has to come and bring gifts and actually be nice about it. Big ask. And it was also this one dentist could work on Hawkeye's tooth. That's really what it came down. It was the Hawkeye's tooth episode. It may maybe not have been Hawkeye. It may have been Trapper. But yeah, it was. Yeah, if you're a MASH fan, you know I just put it in the first 3 seasons. It was Trapper. And the whole thing fell apart. But there was this one man in that episode. It was the dentist. They asked the dentist, can you do something about his tooth? And he said no. He wanted to go to Tokyo. And in order to go to Tokyo, well, he stops for a moment. And really the focus of what I want to talk about is what he said about Tokyo. He said, I am Japanese. He wasn't, but it was in his heart. And he's like, I know it. I know something about me is like I am a lost ancient kindred spirit of Japan. I am a son of the Eastern, or I am a son of the Eastern sun. Like I have to see Japan. I have to go to Tokyo. And the way he talked about Japan, I absolutely relate to. It was the same feeling I get from Ireland. It's the same feeling I get from Ireland. Like there's just, it's not negotiable. And this is where I don't know what yet to think of generational stuff. Every time I hear people talk about generational, I'm going, I want the physics. I want the proof. So I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I also see a lot of people transferring their own trauma into the stories of their ancestors. It's basically narcissism being projected onto their past ancestors. And I did it with my Irish people. But and here's the thing is it asks the question, how can a person with 2% Irish in their bloodline or 2% Japanese in their bloodline, how can those people relate to so strongly a culture they were not raised in? And it's been something that I've been really sitting hard with for a long time because scientifically it doesn't make sense yet. But psychologically it does. And here's why. Because our identity is an accumulation of what we love. And for me, Ireland literally was a melting pot of everything I love in life, crammed into one place. Literally. The books, the history, the dance, the art, the culture, the music. Like, they have such a pro art mindset. Oh my God. It's there was just so much. My favorite color is green. And it's just one step into Ireland, and suddenly I feel like all of my identity is being revered and honored, and I have space to be myself. It's a freedom. It's the same freedom I get with New York City, where I can step into this place and be myself without any judgment. And it's absolutely wonderful. And that's what I think it is it's when we find a land that just resonates so deeply with who we are. It doesn't matter if we're related genetically or by blood. We are related by something much deeper. Blood is thicker than water. Blood of the coven is thicker than water of the womb. Blood is thicker than water. And this is really what it comes down to. You are talking about such a passion, such a love for something. And it's a celebration of the identity. And it's funny. I have Scottish in my blood also. I'm Clan McFarland, and it was really amusing because my favorite sound in the world, don't fucking judge me. My favorite sound in the world is bagpipes. Don't fucking judge me. I love bagpipes. Bagpipes to me is like mother's milk. I hear them and I'm just like, oh, the world is right. I can just relax now. I hear bagpipes. I love the sound of bagpipes. Like my favorite color in the world is plaid. I fucking love this shit. Like that's home to me. And it's absolutely what bothered me about being American was the absolute lack of culture, the lack of clan, the lack of kin, the lack of family, the lack of tradition. It was a lack of belonging. And America does not provide that to anybody. It doesn't. And it's something that you have to go back and trace your roots to define, which is why so many Americans do the genealogical records. I cannot get over doing genealogical records is an American thing. It's because we're trying to figure out where we belong because we have no culture and no clan here. And I remember talking to so many of my Brit friends about this, and they're like, yeah, I'm British. We know we're British. And I'm like, well, have you ever done genealogy? No, I know we're British. They know they're British. They know who they are. They know who they are. Americans don't. We've lost it. To say you're American is to ask the question, well, who the fuck are you? And my partner comes from Puerto Rico, and his Latin line goes all the way down to, like, he can trace it. He knows where he's from. It's in his food. It's in his culture. It's in his music. It's in his dance. It's in his food. Not mine. Well, yes, to an extent, mine. I have my mom's side, which is Irish, and then my dad's side, which was British. So I found out later that the reason why the food was so fucking disgusting when I was a kid was because it's just British. Milk toast is something that I need to not talk about. I actually have severe trauma associated with the food that I had to eat. And milk toast is a delicacy from England. It's fucking disgusting. And it wasn't until I'm third generation British. Well, let me see here. My great-grandmother. Yeah, my great-grandmother was born, raised Britain. So Albert, like, come on. Albert, like, hello, Britain. So yeah, I am like British, German, and Irish and Scottish. Those are I'm white. So it was really, and it was something I saw growing up, was because my mom was Irish. That was the side of the family that was not allowed. We weren't the right white. There's racism of white among white people. This is how sick it is when you get into white supremacy. Fucking disgusting. Is you can be the wrong white among white people. And I was, because I was the Irish side. I was resonated with the Irish culture. My mom was Irish. It was very much you're not allowed. And they took my mom out of her clan. And we never saw her family because they weren't the right white. So yeah, fucking disgusting. And every time I tried to embrace my Irish roots, I would get it rammed down my throat that I'm not Irish, that I was American. And I did the genealogy, and I was able to trace it back to the Celtic roots of my family. And I'm like, oh, fuck you, yes. And I realized that that was just the severity of the racism that among white people, that's right, you got to be the right white. And when I'm around other people, I tend to take my Irish roots and suppress them because it's not allowed. And yesterday was a day where I realized that, and I found it again, and I was able to pull it back out of me. I'm still hiding it and hiding this culture and hiding it's very, very difficult. I'm just going to move to Ireland. I'm just going to move to Ireland and just like get the right, just get the right U of I out there. That's what I really need to do. Just move to Ireland and do the right U of I. I love Enya's music, and I saw a meme yesterday with her in it. And somebody had said, Enya is worth over $150 million. She's never done a single tour. I did not know this about her. She's never done a single tour. She lives isolated, alone in a castle in Ireland. Don't ever let anyone tell you that the way things are done is the way they have to be done. And it was a huge, how do I want my business to be done? It completely changed a lot with me yesterday. It was wonderful. And yeah, it really felt good to process that. Yeah. It's all that, where did we come from? And when we are born, that where did we come from is supposed to be our first U of I. And my mom was a chameleon, a word I like to say, fawning, where she would just absorb whoever she was around. And it was so obvious with my mother due to her survival trauma that it changed like night and day with person to person. People call it lying, but it's not really lying. It's the chameleon inside of her. I struggle going back to it. I did not go home this Christmas. I will never go back there again. I have no purpose, no need. And they extended the invitation, and I was just like, no, no, there is nothing there for me. I heard from my daughter. That was wonderful. And January's coming up. But I realized we have this real solid who we are. And if you don't maintain it and strengthen it, and here's the other thing, you have to first, stage one is becoming aware that it's there, that you have to go find it. And then there's the finding it. After you find it, you have to bring it out and rescue it. After you rescue yourself, you have to, this is where you heal. This is the part where you heal. I did not do what I thought. I had an image on my phone and I thought it captured all of this. Oh, yeah, I put it on TikTok. That's why I couldn't find it. It's on TikTok. Find yourself. Free yourself. Yeah. Yeah, you have to free yourself. And then you have to know yourself. So you have to first become aware that you're even lost. And then you have to go find yourself. You have to rescue yourself. You have to free yourself. You have to collect yourself at one point because you're in pieces. You're in pieces. And then you have to get to know yourself. After you get to know yourself, you have to strengthen yourself. This is big. This is where a lot of people are like, I'm all better. I know myself. And they're done. And they drop all of their healing and they're done with it. No, because if you are at the knowing stage and you drop all the work thinking you're set, you're going to regress. This is where regression happens. You have to memorize. You have to know yourself so well that you never change. So you have to strengthen yourself. You have to become so stable. And this is going to take time. This is where the real grueling starts. This is expect it to take a year. Expect it to take a year. In April, that's when I finally integrated. And here it is December. And I am finally stable and strong enough that I can be around other people and not pick up their behaviors. My mimic mirror repetition. The way I like to talk about this is you are clay and you are soft, squishy clay right up until you get to the hardening. And I'm going to call it the hardening because this is really it. It takes a year for your clay to harden and then you can put it in a kiln. And I am in the kiln stage. And if you are like my first case study, she was at the soft clay stage and she thought she would spend the week jumping back in and just socializing. And because she was soft clay, she started to regress. And I caught it yesterday, pulled her back, and I'm like, what are you doing? Have you done any of the work? She's like, no, I thought it was better. No, there is no, you're better. You are at soft clay stage. You have to harden. You have to go into a kiln. This is going to take time. This is where expect a year of it, literally your clay going from soft to hard. The healing is done, but you got to stabilize that. You need to know yourself so strongly. You need to defend yourself so strongly that even when you are around people who don't match you, you don't give a fuck. And this is really it. It's the hardening stage. It's the kiln stage. And I definitely am huge on expect that to take a year. And you cannot use your boundaries and conform at the same time. And that's really it. If you are conforming, you're not using your boundaries. You have to get comfortable saying words like, yeah, that's not for me. And then once you harden and you're done with the kiln, that is when you're like impenetrable. That is when you're good. Do you need healing or maintenance after that point? I don't know. I don't know. I have not made it that far yet. I am in the hardening kiln stage. I would say yes. I think you do, because just 2 days ago, I needed to be alone and meditate and go inward for something. It's learning how to balance. This is the alignment, but then I was learning how to balance. Like, I realized, oh, you need to write books again, Anna. So I'm writing books again. I started writing 2 days ago, and I was like, oh my God, I need to do this. And I had given it up because I'm like, I don't need that. Oh, apparently I do. So, yeah, this is literally the resolution of an existential crisis. How to resolve an existential crisis. And that's really, I want to write that down, because that is going on my, oh, which website do I want to put this on? How to heal an existential crisis. Right now I have the classroom on imagination. No, I want to keep it there because I love having that work. So I'm going to put it here. How to heal an existential crisis. I love the way that sounds. You know, that just cracks me up. How to resolve an existential crisis. And I would definitely put it in, yeah, the stages. No, I want to start by saying existential. What it means to be existential. Yeah, I definitely want to define it. In logic, we always start with a definition. And then I want to compare it. Existentialism versus psychology. And then I will talk about the stages of existential recovery. No, I'm going to say resolution and recovery, because you're resolving it and then you recover from it. And that's it. It's not healing. Healing versus existentialism. Existential resolution. There you go. Healing versus existential resolution. There. I finally found the words. That is it. That is it. People are like, oh, I'm going to go heal. No, you are doing an existential resolution. Big difference. Huge difference. That is what I've been trying to tell people. This isn't fucking healing. This is an existential resolution. Big fucking difference. You need a philosopher for this shit. Yeah. That's why people aren't healing. It's because they're going, I'm on a healing journey. I'm going to go get some chakra stones. Dude, you're dealing with existentialism. I was 15 when I first found existentialism, and I was so happy. Like, I had found my soulmate. My soulmate was existentialism. And I had the rare luxury of having 2 uncles when I was a child. My uncles were a philosopher named Rick. True story. And not to be confused with Rick of My Subconscious Mind. And then, well, a pastor. My Uncle Tom was a minister, a pastor. And wow, I was really fucking spoiled. Yeah, now that I think about this, I remember being 15. I spent my entire teenage years engaging my 2 uncles, the 3 of us, into philosophical debate. Wow, was I fucking spoiled. Now that I think about this, no, I hadn't remembered because my trauma would not allow it. This is a memory that's new, that's allowed me, my subconscious mind has allowed this back to me. I started this when I was like 12 to 19. Oh my God. I would love, okay, now there's reason for me to go back. Now I do want to go back just to have these conversations with my uncles again. Oh my God. Yeah. In fact, when I was like 30, my uncle Tom gave me not War and Peace. He gave me Anna Karenina. And I still haven't read that book. And we would have these massive debates about religion versus theology and existentialism. And we would get into these massive in-depth conversations in philosophy. And I had the brain of a philosopher and the brain of a religious man. So I was able to get this massive two sides of the coin while we debated. And all three of us were educated. All three of us were very, very well informed. So we would have these amazing debates that would just, they would go on. And oh my God, I forgot about all this. That lasted for about 7 years at least, where I had these intensive debates. And existentialism, I remember when I first found it and I was talking to them about it, and they were like, don't touch it unless you're psychologically stable. And it's true. You do not touch existentialism unless you are psychologically stable. Because if you start digging into who you are, you know what? I want to think about this. This is what my uncle told me, and I could see it. Let me think about this, because he said, don't touch existentialism unless you are mentally sound, because you'll kill yourself. Yeah. Yes, I agree. And the reason why is because there is a part, I have a sliver in my finger I just found. There is a part of existentialism that does dive deep into the world of, you literally use logic to prove that you don't exist and that you don't matter. Literally. And I remember wrestling with that idea and that concept, that we don't matter, that we are irrelevant. And if you don't have something solid to pull yourself out of these ideas, I remember I was talking with my neuroscientist friend a few weeks ago about this, and he was really reeling me deep into debate. And I don't like debating existentialism anymore because of this. Because when you really get into it, you really start to ask the questions, what are we? And you find out you're just matter. And I got very emotional because my subconscious mind was very defensive. I was like, no. I started crying, and he's like pushing me. And at one point I raised my voice, and I'm like, because then none of this matters. And that is the conclusion that I reach every time, no matter how many times I have gone down this rabbit hole. None of this fucking matters. None of it matters. We are fucking relevant. It doesn't matter. Why do anything? It doesn't matter. It's not real. You have to give it meaning. And I'm right back there with suicide again, going, if it doesn't matter, then what the fuck are we doing here? If it doesn't matter, then why bother at all? And it's a real, you have to define your own purpose. Bottom line, you have to define your own purpose. And if you don't define your own purpose, like I said, this is existentialism. This is where it gets deep. And that's it really, is people are walking into therapy and healing going, I had trauma and I want to heal. No, honey, you have an existential crisis that you need to resolve. Completely different. Apples and oranges. So yeah, I just published the page, How to Resolve an Existential Crisis, what it means to be existential, existentialism versus psychology, healing versus existential resolution, the stages of existential resolution and recovery. And first you need to become aware. Then you need to go through the finding of the self. And then you have to rescue the identity. Free the identity. And then you need to, in the words of Shakespeare, know thyself. And then there is the strengthening of the self. I'm going to like focus on this so much today. And then there's the memorizing and learning, no, memorizing or normalizing the self. And this is what I refer to as change your familiar. And then there's stabilizing. And then after that, I would say it's aftermath. And in the aftermath, that is when you recalibrate with the full moon. Like, yeah, recalibrate every 3 to 4 weeks. Just plan on recalibrating every 3 to 4 weeks. So those are the stages of existential resolution and recovery. And yeah, this is big. Like, bottom line, this is big. And understanding that there is a difference between healing and existential recovery is, and I remember, now I had philosophy. So when I did my therapy and I'm like, all right, I'm here to heal and I'm walking through it, I got to a certain point when I went, wait a minute. This is existentialism. What are you doing? And they had no idea what I was talking about. They're like, well, and I'm like, no, this is existentialism. You know, that's what you're doing, right? And they had no clue. None of my therapists had any fucking clue, which is why I stepped away from therapy and said, fuck you guys. You don't know what you're doing. This is existentialism. This isn't healing. This is philosophy. Yeah. You're cute, but I'm going to leave you to your little blocks. I'm going to go build this thing now, which is what triadic healing does, is it restores and repairs your existential recovery. Completely different thing. And it was amazing. I'll hear other psychologists and they will say things like, no one knows who they are. And they're flabbergasted by it. Now, I studied existentialism. That's the other thing I hear a lot about, is people saying to me, you are so self-aware. Well, yeah, existentialism will do that to you. Holy fucking shit. And that is it right there. Like, self-awareness, what it means to be existential, self-aware. And self-awareness really is existentialism. It's really digging deep. And yeah, this is all like coming together. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. Yeah, it's really, really coming together. So I feel defined. I feel understood. I feel more defined. So I want to do some gratitude journaling and all that jazz. And I'm definitely like, I actually am putting together, go ahead and grab this now. This is, let me see here. I just put together my website yesterday. I spent the day redoing my website. I fucking love it. Oh my God, she came out so beautiful. And I have something now called the healing exercises. And the healing exercises it's on my website. You can go right there now. Oh my God, I love saying that. Just being able to, it's right there. You can go to it. It's in the slideshow and you can click on it and it will take you right to what we're about to do. And this is basically the daily gratitude journal. And then the You Are Positive affirmations designed to define the self, meditation for triadic healing, philosophical coffee every morning, which is what this is. And then we're going to build your bucket list. I also want to add to this a few things. There's definitely the genie bottle. There's a lot to this part of it. And I want there to be more. I had at one point like 7 to 9 different things. And this is basically building your nest. Nest building is huge for everything. Oh my God. Nest building is I call it the genie bottle. Yeah, I don't like what's here now. I'm going to have to redo it, but let me see here. because there's the genie bottle. And then there's imagination, creativity, vision, and dreams. And this is a huge part of healing, because it leads to, it literally is the nurturing of your art. It's the nurturing of your third part of healing. And understanding that you do have, human beings do have their imagination side to their health. They have their, which is their story health. Yeah, it's really understanding your story health, and then it's your logic health, and then it's the defined self. So yeah, like really sitting down and doing this now. So what I love to do, it's going inward, and it's having the conversations needed with your subconscious mind. And the conversations that you need with your subconscious mind is basically you are looking to regulate your logic with your fear. And this is what a lot of people do not do, is they don't know how to problem solve. Problem solving is logic and imagination. Bottom line, you cannot problem solve if you do not have logic and imagination. You need both. And logic and imagination is the key ingredient to navigate your emotions. So I call this, oh, those are the words. Oh, I've been looking, ready for it. This is, I need like, I need sound effects. I'm really hoping I'm going to have an editor at some point so they can turn in the sound effects. So if I have an editor, it would be like, wait for it. And then it would be like, boom, start the music. And then, boom, there's the words. Are you ready for it? Emotional navigation. There. Emotional navigation. That is it. I'm imagining this video, and I'm going to hand it over to somebody and be like, all right, what I want you to do is edit this so that when I say emotional navigation, it shows up. Emotional navigation. A lot of people call it emotional management. I called it that. Anger management. It's not management. It's navigation. Big difference. Big fucking difference. Emotional navigation is using your emotions to navigate your way through life properly, using logic and imagination to problem solve. That is the goal here. Emotional navigation. Oh, those words have long since evaded me. And to have them finally here is such a big thing. So, like, they deserve a page. Emotional navigation. Let me see here on my classroom, because I know I have so much here on, yeah, emotions glossary. Oh no, this is going to get a page on my classroom. Emotional navigation. Navigation. Coming soon. That makes me so happy. This is like, I cannot tell you. This is deep, people. This is the deep shit. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. Oh, feels so good. Emotional navigation. To properly and effectively navigate your emotions, deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. And in and out. Taking time to feel where in your body everything is clues. It's absolutely emotional clues as to what the problem is. And when you know how to do emotional navigation, you can use the clues to problem solve, to locate what the issue is. Any kind of weight, pressure, any kind of shadow in your chest. These are emotional cues that you have unresolved nagging. That nagging is stage 2, stage 3 of cognitive dissonance. And unresolved, it most definitely does contribute, lead to, and create a mental illness. Deep breath in. So when you pause and you reflect, you basically are going through the subconscious mind and you're cleaning house. You're cleaning up the corners. You're noticing where you've swept shit under the rug. And the subconscious mind is going to fight you. Absolutely. Knowing how the subconscious mind fights is a big tool. Absolutely a huge tool. The subconscious mind fights with amnesia. That's the first line of defense. I can hear mine going, don't tell them this. I've worked so hard. I know. And I'm telling them, everybody, I am telling them your dirty laundry. The other one is distraction. Changing of subjects. All of these, oh my God. The words, I'm fine. I'm fine. No, you're not. That's such fucking bullshit. That is such subconscious mind. Deep breath in. And then there's red herrings. Red herrings are so common. Responsibility shifting. Or assignment. Deep breath in. When you have no unresolved problems, the body during meditation feels weightless, feels open, feels clear. We're going to talk about taking inventory and knowing your resources next. This is a huge part in identifying your value. So many people struggle with this. So we're going to go ahead and take out a journal. And being able to recognize your resources is so vital to finding your self-worth. So we're going to start with gratitude. Gratitude accesses It's almost strategic meditation practices. And the first stage would be gratitude. And the gratitude opens up the lines for human connection with the self. So we're going to start with gratitude journaling, which also shifts the mindset of scarcity over to abundance. So we're going to go ahead and start that now. We're going to do about 15 minutes. Well, we're going to do it for maybe 5 minutes, and then we're going to shift on to positive affirmations. So, and use the phrase, "You are grateful." Because the "you are grateful for," the "you are" absolutely is linked to our mimic mirror repetition response. Understanding the importance of the mimic mirror repetition response is vital to this. You are grateful for. Be mindful about your breathing when we do this. Really think about your qualities. Deep breath in. About 3 more minutes on just the gratitude. you are grateful for. I am grateful for my writing. Really think about your qualities. Qualities are a huge, huge part of this. Okay. Now we're going to switch over to positive affirmations. You are statements. You are statements. And what you want to do is select the qualities that you desire in yourself. So what this is going to do is it's going to take that mimic, mirror, repetition response, plug it into the you are with positive affirmations to switch the polarity of your subconscious mind from negative over to positive. And while we do that, you are also going to manifest this shit. So you are, and tell the qualities, write down the qualities that you want in yourself. You are gentle. You don't have to be them. Just choose them, define them. This is where I assign you the philosopher's compass. Number 1, which is the I want, I do, I become, therefore, I am. So you are all the things that you are and all the things you want to become. Do not distinguish between the both. We're going to do this for about 10 minutes. You can repeat them. These are you are statements of positive affirmations for manifestation. Yeah, that's a mouthful, and they are very powerful. Oh, compassionate. That's a trait I want. I need more of that in my life. I'm going to write that a couple times. I don't even know what the word means. Compassionate. Yeah, I definitely want that in my life. I love epiphanies. There it is. Oh, I got to go to work. You guys keep doing that. I have to work. I just figured something out. Wow, that was difficult. There it is. Compassionate arrogance. That is what I've been looking for. Okay. About another 5 minutes of the you are statements. Compassionate arrogance is the cure. I've been looking for that for a long time. And if you are looking for a complete list, this is located on my website at anashealinggarden.org. Under your self-care regimen, you can click on the slideshow, and there is an option there for exercises. That is where we are. And just a reminder that the you are statements are the positive affirmation that accent, that pull out our mimic mirror repetition response. And this combines statements of positive affirmations for manifestation, so that we are actually doing 3 different psychological things here at the same time by saying you are, and then choosing the qualities that you want. This accesses the first philosopher's compass of the I want, I do, I become, therefore I am. It is the first philosopher's compass of the self. Three more minutes. And while you are doing that, I am going to read positive affirmations to you. You are free. You have free will. You choose for yourself. You are your own authority. You claim your authority. You claim your power to change. You belong. You have you. You protect you. You take care of your own needs. You self-regulate and self-soothe yourself. You are resourceful. You have all that you need, and your resources are abundant. You are home. You choose good people for you. You accept you. You are safe to talk and be heard. You are safe to choose. You are safe to love yourself. You care and value yourself and others without gain or profit. Love is valuing others without gain or profit. You are love. You love you. You trust you. You are safe to come out of hiding now. You are safe to remember who you are. You are safe to be seen. You are safe to be heard. You are safe to create. You are safe to grow. You are safe to change. You are safe to imagine. You are safe to trust the right people. You defend yourself. You know who you are. You know your story. You know your value. You are equal to all others. You problem solve through your fears. Your opinion is as valuable as all others. You know your name. You know what you are. You know your truth. You self-govern. You are resourceful. You are accountable. You trust yourself. You trust others. You accept your own limitations. You ask for help. You comfort and reassure yourself. You rely on yourself. You are valuable. You are worthy. You release all that does not align to your truth. You trust your logical deduction. You know who you are. You know your truth. You trust your logical deduction to decide for yourself. You choose to trust the right people for you. You are strong enough to release judgment, fear, and hoarding of your resources. Deep breath in and out. And in and out. And in and out. Deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. In. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Deep breath in and out. In, out. There is something I like to talk about called emotional cocktails. Emotional cocktails were something I discovered around the seventh perspective is when I noticed the first one. And emotional cocktails are fucking powerful. So I'm going to go over what an emotional cocktail is so that you have a better idea of what we're dealing with here. And once you learn all the cocktails and you know how to start using words to literally summon, using words to summon a precise emotion. And there's no other word for it. I'm going to teach you how to use words to summon a precise emotion. You can literally make an emotional cocktail. The first emotional cocktail is love plus. I'm going to write this down because these recipes, literally, they are recipes. I am going to call this recipes for emotional cocktails because this changes everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So love plus. The very first emotional cocktail I discovered was love. And when you feel real love, actual love, and you combine it with fear, the fear goes from permeating you like a 10 down to like a 2. It's that powerful. The reason why things hurt so much is because you are feeling a full dose. It's not diluted. And love dilutes painful emotions so that they don't hurt. They hurt a fraction. I do mean seriously that it goes from a painful 10 down to a 2. I call this emotional dilution. And when the reason why we hurt so much is because we are feeling the pure dose of the emotion, fear, anger, rage, hurt, without any love. And love is what I call a buffer emotion. Literally, it buffers, it absorbs the pain, which is why when you have a loved one who passes, we gather around people to grieve with others because you are using love of that person in this conglomerate cocktail of grief, loss, and love so that it hurts only a fraction. This is why grieving alone hurts so much more, is because you don't have love. Love is 100% a buffer emotion. And this is why I say narcissists are the ones who suffer the most, is because they don't have love. They are 100% void of love. And as a result, they are feeling 100% of all the emotions. Everybody else in the world has access to love, not a narcissist. So while everyone else is getting a fraction of the pain, the narcissist is getting the full dose. So when you finally heal, recover, find yourself, develop self-love, that starts to cushion the pain so that it goes from getting that extreme dose of 10 down to a 2. That's the first emotional cocktail. The other emotional cocktail that I love is you literally using emotions, the opposite emotion, to contradict and cure another emotion. So one of the emotions I can't stand is humiliation. Humiliation is a fucking horrible emotion. It really is. I am a BDSM mistress. I have done the fucking work on humiliation. I know what humiliation really is. And to hear people glorify it makes me fucking sick. Humiliation is degradation. It is zero self-esteem. As a mistress with subs, believe me, I know. Humiliation is no self-love. It is 100% degradation. It is zero self-worth. And the only cure to humiliation is a huge, heavy dose of arrogance. Now, arrogance gets a bad rap. Arrogance actually means to claim. That is what the original word is from, agere in Latin, meaning to claim, as in to claim one's authority. You don't get confidence unless you claim authority. So guess what? To be arrogant is to actually know your confidence. Confidence and arrogance are synonymous. But for people, narcissists, abusers who want to make sure you stay right where you belong under their boot, they're going to glorify humility and ban you from touching arrogance. Now, if you want to cure humiliation, if you want to get out from under their fucking boot, give yourself a huge dose of arrogance. And I do mean go all out. This is how I ended my people pleasing. This is absolutely how I finally told the world to fuck off. I took all of the arrogance and I dumped it into me. I imagined what it would look like. And I stepped right into the emotion. And I merged the arrogance with humiliation. They cannot exist at the same time. They cannot. And knowing that humiliation was a lack of self-esteem, a lack of self-worth, self-loathing is humiliation. That's really what it is. It is absolutely no self-worth. So I took arrogance and I blasted my humiliation out of me. Now, of course, because I had arrogance in the bucketfuls, I was overly confident. I was to the point where I never stomped on other people, but I was definitely a bitch. And it bothered me. I was probably there for 3 weeks, 4 weeks when I was like, okay, I need to turn down arrogance. But you do not want to use humiliation to turn arrogance down. And this is where I kept going, okay, now how do I control how do I use a knob on the arrogance to turn it down? The emotion you need is compassion. That is the emotion you need. When you add compassion to the arrogance, oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful concoction. This is what I call an emotional cocktail. So arrogance and compassion, when combined, will give you the confidence you need and the kindness toward others. That is what you need. That will eliminate your humiliation. It will soften you to accept and be kind and gentle toward others, while also filling you with the confidence you need. There are hundreds of emotional cocktails. I am going to have these. They are listed on my website called Recipe for Emotional Cocktails. So as I compose these and I put them all together, you can go in. I also have emotional glossaries available on my website. So you can go through and read the emotions as they were originally defined in their first evolution of usage and their Latin base. So you see what they actually meant. Words, we live in a society where word warfare is very, very common. I do a lot of work with word warfare so that you can see how much our words in our culture has been used as weapons against us to humiliate us, to put us down, to diminish us. And there's basically two sides. There's the degradation side. We are very binary in our thinking. It's very two-dimensional. It's very primitive. So there's degradation. And then the flip side of the degradation is the list of banned God words. And these are words that have been taught to us as bad. Really, it's blasphemous. And it puts you at God level. God level in this case equals confident. Confidence is God level. And when you dig into any religion, when you dig into the psychology of grow words versus degradation, this is really what it comes out to, is confidence is the emotion of a God. Now, the reason why this is so vital is because we have a culture where women especially are conditioned to submit to men. I'm going to say again, BDSM mistress of like 30 plus years. I know my fucking shit when it comes to submission. And when I see an entire culture where every fucking woman is raised submissively, slave-like, bowing, I was conditioned to literally lower my eyes if a man was present. That's how ingrained into our culture it is. And breaking out of that, understanding that this is submissive, this is degradation versus this glorified putting people on a pedestal so you stay small. The other words I love to use for this is the shrinking mindset. And good God, there are so many women who can relate to this. It's that horrible shrinking where you feel like you feel like you have greater potential. You know you have greater potential, but it's always out of reach. You can never get to it. And every now and then it leaks out and you feel great and then you feel guilt. Guilt is absolutely a degradation emotion. It is an emotion that is used, afflicted on us by abusers to make sure we stay small. We hear this with words like, you're getting too big for your britches. That is a phrase that comes into existence to remind you that you are a peon and you need to be degraded. And when you start to hear the shrinking words versus the grow words, when you start to become aware of the words that are used to keep you small, mindless, menial, and a peon, you suddenly start to realize the division that's going on, that has happened. This is a secret slave society that we live in. And it's all being done, honed, controlled by the words that we use. By knowing these emotional cocktails, you can get out of it. So how to summon an emotion is basically, we have words that are associated and linked to every emotion. The emotion and the energy comes first, and the word comes after. The word has become so synonymous with the emotion that we have forgotten that there's an emotion attached to the word. So when you think of the word, when you are doing positive affirmations, you are actually taking your emotional energy from your subconscious mind and you are reminding yourself what it feels like, which is why we do positive affirmations. You are conditioning and giving yourself a massive dose of positive energy. A surplus of positive energy is going to get you from scarcity mindset over to abundance mindset. This is how you reverse the polarity flow of, this is how you reverse the flow of your subconscious mind from negative over to positive. By using positive emotions, you gain a surplus. Now, if you have a deficit of positive emotions, so you're mostly negative, that's where pessimism comes in. That's where scarcity mindset comes in, is because you have a surplus of the negative emotions. So with positive affirmations, this is exactly physics. This is emotional physics, like 100%. Once you get enough positive charge using positive affirmations, positive words, and positive energy, it flips the polarity so that you start thinking in the lines of abundance. This is how manifestation works. Once you have a surplus of abundance with positivity, now you can start using those grow words. You can hasten this process by accessing the emotion of your choice, using an emotional cocktail, by selecting, all right, I want to cure my degradation mindset. I don't want to feel humility anymore. So I'm going to use arrogance. And so you think of arrogance, you become arrogance. You start to literally emanate and encompass your actions and everything that you think is arrogance. It's gonna feel wrong at first. That's good, because what feels right is you being stomped on and abused. Really process that. So it's going to feel wrong. It's not going to feel good. Once you get through that, though, give it 2 weeks. It really clicks. There's a moment where it just clicks and suddenly you feel confident. You feel proud. You feel fantastic. And no, there is no fall that comes after. There's none. That's a lie and bullshit that they tell you so that you are afraid of the arrogance so you don't go near it, because confidence is godlike. So once you step into that arrogance, you're going to want to kind of use compassion to turn it down. Now, this is where it's going to get a little tricky, because a lot of people think compassion means doormat. A lot of people think that compassion means being nice. Nice is another shrinking word. Nice is toxic. Nice comes from good girl. Again, BDSM mistress. I know what those fucking words actually mean. So the concept of nice and good girl is fucking bullshit. That is rewarding you for being small, submissive, and easily abused. That is literally rewarding you for being a doormat. So the concept of being nice really is toxic. I am not going to repeat what's already been done. Dr. Aziz Gazipura wrote a book called Not Nice. Read it. This book says everything that I 100% condone about the concept of the words not nice. He breaks it down so fucking beautifully that there is no need for me to elaborate any further. Read the book, Not Nice, by Dr. Aziz Gazipura. His psychology is fucking spot on. He's fantastic. He's one of the few books that I have in my library still. And this book really breaks down the difference between not nice, being a good person based off of your ethic, being assertive with boundaries so people don't walk all over you, and then being an asshole. And that's the spectrum. Not nice as doormat, slave, submissive, abusive little bitch. Being good, a good person based off of your ethic, we're getting better. You want to be assertive, to say, back off. You don't get to treat me like shit. This is authoritative. This is power. This is where you really want to be. This is healthy. Taking it a little too far, now that's where we get into a full abusive asshole. This is also insecure. And this is insecure. So the goal is to get you from insecure over to full security. But in order to do that, you need to stop being nice. Because nice does not mean good. Nice means, well, read Dr. Aziz Gazipura. Phenomenal book. The book is in my reading list all over my website. I cannot express that book enough. So understanding that there are degradation words, that there are degradation concepts all over our culture, designed literally to put you down, to make you a submissive little bitch and be happy about it. This is where guilt comes in, actually shame. We do not understand. Guilt and shame is another fantastic example of word abuse, of word manipulation, where words were used, word warfare, guilt and shame. Guilt is the emotion you feel when you violate your ethics. If you are a pacifist and you are driven to violence, you're going to feel bad about that. That is guilt. Shame is the emotion, that dirty feeling that you feel when you aren't obedient. Really, that is shame. It's the dirty feeling that you've been conditioned to feel when you aren't obedient, when you aren't a slave. That is shame. But your abusers have used the word guilt to cover that up, so you don't realize that you're being made to feel like shit for not being obedient. Like I said, word warfare. So start using the words properly. Start understanding that words are attached to emotional. This is absolute. Word warfare is emotional manipulation. This is why and how. This is the how of why we are so fucked up. Is because there is this unspoken, unaware word warfare of emotional manipulation going on with us in our culture that none of us are aware of. And as a result, we keep regurgitating the same words, putting ourselves back in this keyhole, completely unaware of it. So the recipes for emotional cocktails are on my website. My emotional glossary is on my website. And I do a lot of work. In fact, this space is where I do a lot of work on word warfare and the emotional recipes for cocktails, how you can use this for boundaries, confidence building, and abuse proofing yourself. That is what this show is all about. So, and I'm here every morning. This is literally my daily healing show. I love it to pieces. And we cover meditation, gratitude journaling. It's all of my work as far as what you need on a daily basis to get yourself in the right mindset, to start becoming aware of what's really going on, helping you get out from this degradation mindset over to a growing, healthier mindset. And then we do exercises. I usually do those in the middle of the show. So if you want to learn more, take a look at my website, honnesthealinggarden.org. Thank you so much for your audience. And may the kindest of words always find you.